There's a bigger issue here. Just because a group of people belong to the Federation, it does not mean that they are saints. The trouble is Earth. On Earth, there is no poverty, no crime, no war. You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise. Out there, all the problems haven't been solved yet. Out there are no saints, just people. Angry, scared, determined people who are going to do whatever it takes to survive.
What I want to know is, out of all the stories you told me, which ones were true and which ones weren't?
My dear doctor, they're all true.
Even the lies?
Especially the lies.
On behalf of the Bajoran government
And the Promenade Merchants Association,
I officially welcome you to Deep Space Nine.
Welcome back to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. My name is Blake, and you have joined us as we're going to discuss the Season 2 episode of The Collaborator. If you have not listened to our show before, oh boy, are you in for a treat. But the way we typically do this is we will start off with a synopsis. We will get some first impressions, especially from those that we are forcing to watch this show for the first time. Don't ask if they're okay. They're all here willingly. We are not holding anyone against their will much. Jessi, maybe.
Right.
And then we will discuss the episode before we throw our newbies out. And those of us who have watched this show many, many times will just make fun of them and how much we've gaslit them through the entire process. For those who maybe watched our previous show, Grey 17, you know exactly how this works. With me tonight is
Christopher,
Jessi,
Nicole,
Chris,
and Emily.
So for a synopsis, Emily, I understand you've got some thoughts, maybe some feels.
Yes. Space Karen returns to DS9 with a new scheme. She attempts to manipulate Cisco into a PR stunt to support her bid to be elected Kai. Cisco, being Cisco, outmaneuvers her, leaving her to pivot tactics and go after Vedek Bareil. Bareil's efforts to undermine Winn are about as effective as him being seductive, resulting in Winn becoming Bajor's new Kai, the ultimate Space Karen.
So basically you're saying Space Karen becomes Pope of Bajor.
Yes. She has a new fancy title.
So in other words, this is the Star Trek universe equivalent of Pope Benedict.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and get some first impressions. Jessi, I know you had some thoughts. You done warned us.
So for those of you who can't see us today, I started my show out with Narnhub on. So just beware, because that's the day I'm having. So interesting episode. I did like it. I don't fucking like the new Kai whatsoever. She's kind of a cunt. And by kind of, I mean like a big one. Watched the whole episode, had some thoughts about people who marry serial killers or mass murderers and don't know. So there was that. And yeah, it was an episode.
Okay. Chris, how about your first impressions?
Jessi, I thought you were gonna go what I was thinking when the episode started. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. When it starts, it's the fine shit, messy hair, Kira pop up, and just instantly it was like a scene from Bajor Hub, and she was squeezing on his bird chest for the first couple of minutes of the episode, and I'm like, all right, well, where are we going with this episode today? Because it had the soft lighting, you know, like the 90s cable soft core porn shit or whatever. But what I liked about the episode was that the way the dialogue was written, there was so much subtext in a lot of the conversations, and they were artful in the way that they didn't have the characters just come outright and say what they were feeling, but more so it was veiled through the dialogue and then the way the actors delivered the dialogue. So I really enjoyed that throughout, because you saw the shift from in the beginning. I was just waiting whenever Vedek Winn and Kira were talking to each other, I was just waiting for one of them to be like, bitch, you know what? And then just for everything to fly out the window, right? But they kept playing and towing that line. So I thought that was really good and that was enjoyable. But you saw it shift, right? Through the end of the episode where Kira gets deeper into the investigation, she starts finding out more. Now she's questioning more, and she becomes less of being on the offensive and going after Vedek Winn to kind of retreating to being neutral to retreating even more to becoming defensive now and being like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And now reacting to everything she's finding out, like this can't be true, this can't be true. So I liked it because there was a definitive arc in the episode, and I thought it was put together pretty nicely.
Nicole.
Well, normally I would be the resident shipper, but I was a little skeeved out by starting the episode with a shirtless Vedek Bareil standing there like he's some weird statue. I didn't really like that. I don't know. I thought it was like aggressive the way she was like feeling on his bird chest, like you said. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I like
squeeze it.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, good for Kira that she's getting her freak on and she's got a man. If anyone needs it, that girl needs a man because she's wound pretty tight. And if it brings her joy, that's fine. I, however, did not like it very much, which is not like me because normally I'm like, yay, shipping and love, but I just wasn't feeling it. So, but yeah, overall, I thought the episode was interesting. The minute Vedek Winn gets on the station and I see her stupid face, I just really wanted to punch it. I hate her. She's got such a shit attitude. She's always scheming. She's always plotting. She makes Quark look like an angel, okay? Like she's always got some evil plan. I'm just waiting for her to bring a mini-me on the station and put her pinky up to her face, and I do not like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate that Sisko didn't fall for her bullshit because he's too smart for that, which I love. And I also love that Kira was not afraid to step to her ass. And she challenged her. She got in her face and was like, oh, well, now that you're here, we're going to up security and like all this stuff. Like she didn't let her forget the shenanigans that she pulled the last time she was there. And then Vedek Winn was like, I suggest you don't talk to me with that disrespect. I was like, come on, Kira, hit her, like knock her ass out. But she didn't. But anyway.
Yeah, she called her child every fucking
that every time she said child, I wanted to reach through the freaking computer screen and choke her. Like that irritated me. But yeah, I really thought the episode was pretty good though. I did like Odo's quote about the one thing I learned about humanoids is that you'll do bad things in extreme situations or whatever the quote was. I really like that because it was very true. And I feel like Odo knows the humanoids a lot better than they know themselves because she was like, I love him. And he's like, well, it's about time you figured it out. Like, he called Kira out. But I also appreciate that even when Kira was kind of down in the dumps and she was kind of resorting to that her man was a collaborator and she was kind of down, Dax asked her if she was okay and kind of checked on her. And she still was like, wait a second. Like, she wasn't ready to accept that. And then when he resigned and all that, I was just like, but I was a little surprised at the end when she was like, well, where does this leave us? And he was like, well, where do you want it to leave us? And then she kissed him. And I was like, I thought she was going to walk away from his ass. But anyway, I was very surprised by the ending. I'm not happy that Winn is Kai. I'll stop now because I've gone way too long. But yeah, lots of thoughts. Oh, I do appreciate that they went to Quark to do some illegal shit. I like that.
As always.
I am so going to have to find some sound clips of my child.
Oh,
no.
God.
That's the fucking equivalent of honey or sweetie from somebody that knows goddamn better than I'm not a honey or a sweetie.
Oh, I know. My old insurance agent, before I moved out here, they hired a new person at their office, and every time I called, it was, oh, hun or sweetie, and I blew up over it. It just drove me up the wall.
It doesn't bother me when it's like my friends or somebody that like, first of all, my friends fucking know better than to call me honey when they're arguing with me, but I get it a lot, and I'm like, I'm not a honey. I'm also not a sweetie. So
I mean, I know what they were trying to go for because like the trope is that priests will say my son, my child, whatever, when I have never had a priest call me child or son as a cradle Catholic. So I don't know where that trope comes from, but that's what they were trying. But yeah, annoying.
It just seemed so like condescending.
Condescending, 100%.
Before we get too much into conversation of Kai Winn and how much of what she is.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Let's get Christopher's first impressions.
So this was a good episode. I enjoyed it, but it seemed telegraphed that Bareil was going to be the collaborator. And I should have seen the twist at the end coming that it was Kai Opaka, but I didn't. So I kind of like that it just kind of kept me guessing like how are they going to get him out of this. But also it just seems like ever since they introduced the two Vedeks, they made a big deal that Bareil was the one who was going to win Conclave. I kind of figured that Winn was going to somehow win the election. So for me, that kind of like it just seems so predictable in that sense, like if you'd been paying attention. So it kind of made me like the episode a little bit less, but I thought it was really well done.
Emily, your first impressions.
It has Kai Winn. What's not to love?
Kai
If
Winn.
I was religious and evil, I would be her, but I'm neither. And we're all grateful for that.
Wait, you just said you're neither?
Mm-hmm.
One of those two I will give you. The other one is debatable.
Okay, let me rephrase. I'm not as evil as I could be, and we should all be grateful for this. Okay?
There we go.
Yes.
I like it. It's enjoyable just because she's such a good actress. Like, she is very believable in that character. Bareil just grates on every nerve I have. I still haven't been able to pinpoint quite why, but I don't like him.
I don't either.
And I just, he irritates me so much.
You
So
have
I'm
no
not a
idea
fan of
why.
that part, but like, you know.
Should we start a list?
Let's start a list of why he seems like one of those fake chill spiritual guys, and you're like, you're just full of fucking shit. Like,
You're just
I'm
trying to
not
sleep with
buying
me. Knock it off.
it. Put it away. No one wants it.
Except Kira.
Kira
Shit.
apparently really wants it.
Right, she's all about it.
Look, she has a lot of trauma in her past she needs to deal with, so she can have a decent relationship with a decent guy. Okay.
Definitely giving me flashbacks to y'all's thoughts on Byron.
Oh,
Very much so. And I actually really liked the interaction with Winn and Cisco when she's trying to manipulate him. You can hear in his voice, he's like, you really think I'm that fucking stupid? Okay, we're gonna play. Like, you want to play this game, we're gonna play the game, and you're gonna lose. So I found that really enjoyable. But I love every episode because she is just phenomenal.
I enjoy this episode, and a big part of that is Louise Fletcher as Kai Winn. I mean, it's Nurse Ratched, folks. The lady can play someone you're going to hate, and she's phenomenal at it.
bastard.
Same idea. I mean, Walter Koenig played that role to a point. He was so good at it, that's why you hated the character so much.
Yes.
And Louise Fletcher can do that here. And I love any of the episodes that she's in, and especially when they put her up against a character like Kira or even Cisco. I think my favorite line in this episode, though, is when Kira at the very beginning says, well, if I'd known you were here, I'd inform Constable Odo to increase security. And Winn was, oh, we don't need that. And Kira's like, oh, no, it wasn't for your safety. It was
Right.
everybody else's. And so I love that part, but also with Odo and Kira in this one, because it wasn't just that Kira admitted to loving Bareil, but there was a minute where you saw this look on Odo's face, and they've kind of built up, and you just the way that Renee Auberjonois, even through the makeup, was able to emote that with the facial expressions, I think was really, really well done. But overall, this is, I think, one of the stronger episodes of season 2. It's one of my favorites that I love to go back when I'm rewatching. I will say it's interesting, Christopher, to your point that you knew that they were going to end up making Winn the Kai, is up until they saw the script for this episode, the plan was actually always for Bareil to become Kai. But the Ira Stephen Bear, who, again, he had taken over more as showrunner by this point, his thought was, what's the fun in that? That doesn't give you the drama or the tension or what would make for good television of what having the potential of Winn as Kai. So they really pivoted that when we hit here.
To me, it just seemed like, and obviously you're saying it wasn't planned, but it did seem like, okay, if you're going to set somebody up as a villain and you have this Kai role as an important role for Bajor, and that's kind of part of the main crux of the series, is that you have to get Bajor ready, then you want a good Bajoran antagonist, and Winn fills every bit of that. And so that's why I just thought it just seemed like it was planned out from the beginning. And if it wasn't, that's good writing.
And I'm sure even if they would have went with Bareil, I'm sure Winn would have somehow still been a bitch throughout DS9. They would not have got rid of Louise Fletcher that easily.
She's terrible.
What did everybody think about the vision scene where we thought it was Kira rubbing on Bareil's bird chest again, and it turned out to be Winn instead.
That was terrifying.
That was the stuff nightmares are made of.
Yep, he turned around thinking he was going to be all excited, and there's that. She didn't look that bad either. Like,
No, she didn't. She didn't look
for being
terrible,
her.
but she's a terrible person, the character. So
Kira looks fucking hot when she was out of her uniform, and in the beginning I was like, who is that? Oh, that's Kira. Look at her with her hair done and makeup on and her little sexy moo.
I feel obliged in Scott's absence to point out that she wasn't that bad looking in the uniform either.
No,
but we got to see another nightgown, and you know how Jessi and I love a nightgown.
You do love a good nightgown.
Listen,
They do.
I didn't even know they made one shoulder moo-moos, but now I'm on the hunt.
So listeners, if you can find a one shoulder moo feel free to send us links in our comments section. Jessi will model that for you.
isn't that just a toga?
Kind of.
It's a night-night toga.
Night toga.
Night-night toga.
I don't know, a few toga parties I remember from college ended up as night-night togas too, but that was for a totally different reason. Usually pass out drunk. So let's go ahead and get the discussion rolling. Who wants to kick us off with their further thoughts on this episode?
I'll start it. Okay.
You usually do.
No, don't do that to me, because I'll go back and tally. All right. I have nothing but time and opportunity, Blake. So let's talk about Kira and her puppy dog eyes. Two things about Kira, man. She's hot out of uniform and she's fucking head over heels for this dumbass dude. And she just like fucking batted her dumb puppy eyes at him and just, bleh, it was gross. So that's why my name is the prude. I just can't stand, like, I don't know. Nobody can do a love scene right, and it creeps me out. Let me take a crack at it. I'll show you how it's done.
Jessi, might I suggest a certain streaming show on HBO Max? You might find that more to your liking.
OnlyFans? All right.
No, I was thinking Heated Rivalry on HBO. Go check that one out and then see if those scenes do it for you.
So I'm going to kind of skip to the end where she thought that he had mass murdered people. And like, she did not want to believe it, right? Like, she's like, I can't believe that this dude did this. And of course she's in love with him. So she wants to find a reason for it to not. Listen, the second that I found out that motherfucker did that, we would have been done. Everybody would have thought that he did it, because I'd have been like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm out. And it's made me think about all of the death, murder, kill shows that I watch where women are married to like mass rapists or mass murderers or like people that are like doing some really odd shit, and they are dingbat as fuck, or like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, that is what that reminded me of today, was she was like, I can't believe that that's what's going on. And I would have been out so fast that motherfucker's head would have spun. I wouldn't have gone past the extra research. We would have been done.
So are you mad at Kira for not knowing?
No, I'm not mad at all. I'm just like, I wasn't surprised that she was like, this can't be, because nobody ever thinks that their husband rapes a bunch of women or kills a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Right? I've
yeah.
never watched any forensic files that she's like, I knew he was a mass murderer and I just really liked cooking dinner for him. Like,
but he was my mass murderer, so
he
it was
my
okay.
mass murderer, and he was the first nice guy that was ever sweet to me, and I married him. Like what the fuck, dude? How did you not see the signs? But I understand here this is not the case. That's just what it reminded me of when I first saw it. I was like, yeah, of course you wouldn't know. He's not going to broadcast that he murdered 43 people.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I like to call digmatized, because
she is, because she's like
she is.
Yeah,
he doesn't even look like he'd be that good at it, though.
Well, here's the thing.
It has to be good enough to get her to vote for him.
Yeah, there you go.
I disagree with
what's your other option, Winn?
She's like, I disagree with you on everything, but I'm still going to vote for you because I want to keep getting it.
So
like,
right.
Well, it's either that or voting for like Space Satan. So you know.
If you think about it, though, like, maybe not all of you, but everyone has had at least one person that we don't see the red flags, and it takes us a while to see them, right? And we don't want to believe. Well, I've had many, but
I was going to say I've had all the people.
I didn't want to speak for all of you, but most of us, if we're by our age, have been in a relationship where there were things we realized after we had to snap out of that like puppy love phase, that like. And you don't want to believe that your person did something bad. You don't want to think that they're a bad person. And sometimes it takes like something happening to snap you out of that, right? And so I can kind of understand why she was like didn't want to believe it and why she didn't
Right.
want to like because she loves him, right? She doesn't want to think that he's a collaborator because that's the worst thing that they could be. But when it comes down to it, she's a humanoid. She's not a human, she's a humanoid. And unfortunately, sometimes we wear those rose-colored glasses and it takes a while to snap out of it. I mean, I can think back to relationships with friends pointing things out, and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? But then I was like, oh, hell no, this mother, like, and then I see it down the road when he does something stupid and it makes me realize it. So I don't think she had kind of hit that point yet. So I can understand and commiserate with her there. But like, yeah, I mean, I just was very shocked that she stayed with him, even though he didn't do it. And it turns out that he didn't. He still kind of lied and was like protecting Kaiopaka, which also, why wasn't she not devastated about Kaiopaka? Because she loved Kaiopaka. You know what I mean? That would, to me, would have was kind of something that I thought was glazed over.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
she's technically dead and on that planet, but like if that was somebody I looked up to and I revered so much, I would almost be more upset about that in a way. Like I thought that was kind of weird that it was just glazed over and then she kissed him and they just walked away in happy bliss. So that was kind of weird to me.
Yeah. The bitch killed her own son, my God. Like, and I don't care about the 1,000 people. She's talking about her son. But I have a question for Nicole. How old were you when these shit relationships were going on?
Yeah, a lot younger and stupider. Yeah.
Kira is definitely not in her 20s.
Yeah,
Or
no.
her late teens. And it's like,
In reality, I had one in my 30s right before Scotty. So, I mean, sometimes they bamboozle you, you know what I mean?
yeah, and that's just the wrong people, right? Like you're just trying to make, not, I'm not going to speak for you, but I'll speak for myself. You're trying to make, I don't want to say everybody, but you want to make them the right people because you're dating them and you like them or like their dick a lot and you think that it should be the one, but they're not all the one. If you believe that there's only one or maybe even 5 out there for you, all the guys I dated can't be it. And you're not wrong. Like 100%, we all have those relationships. Fuck, some of you guys know the one that I had that still acts like a 12-year-old when I see him. But like, red flag, red flag, red flag. Why are you still single in your fucking middle 40s? Yes.
Gee, thanks, Jessi.
Not you. I'm single too. Fuck. Divorce. At least you're not divorced. Shit.
Christopher.
Come on,
right.
Christopher.
So
Give it to us.
to Nicole, you were saying that how with Kaiopaka, and they kind of alluded to that. If it would come out that she was the one who gave away the location of the rebel base, and now all I'm thinking of is Star Wars, but if she was the one who gave away the location, that it would ruin the legitimacy of the Kai, right? And so I think by Bareil not saying anything just kind of proves that point, right? Is that
No, I agree with that.
they're trying to hold up the system.
Yeah, I'm not saying broadcast it. I'm just surprised that Kira wasn't upset about it. That's all I was trying to say.
I don't think that we got to see her being upset about it. I think she was more relieved that Bareil wasn't involved.
Yeah, yeah.
Before our favorite fans comment on enunciation, Bareil was the chef on Food Network. It's Bareil. Just because
okay,
I know we have that one fan. Although I have blocked that fan from commenting on our Spotify, the little dick.
Little dick.
And you know what? I wrote that down too, Bareil, and not Bareil. I literally wrote that in my notes, not to make that mistake, and here I am.
And there you are. But I think with Kira also is because when Bareil explained the situation, is that the Kai made the choice to sacrifice 43 people to save over 1,000. And I think that plays into some of Kira's response. Because it wasn't just that, oh, I gave up these people for some stupid reason.
Right.
It was, I sacrificed my own kid and 40 some odd others to save over 1,000 people.
Right. And that's why, while I'm saying is that they were making the point that it would take away the legitimacy of the Kai. I like what you're saying is part of the reason I disagree with that. How many lives were saved by giving up those 43? Now, you can make the argument saying that they still gave them up, and that one is too many. But what do you expect them to do when you have Do you want to have 1,000 souls on your plate, or be seen as a person who was willing to sacrifice their son to save thousands of people?
I feel like somebody else
we even
did that.
did this in World War II after they cracked the Enigma code. There were instances where they could have stopped attacks on ships, and they didn't because it would have let the Germans know we had cracked that code. So I think there's sometimes those choices have to be made. Jessi.
Didn't God send his only son to die for? Didn't he sacrifice his only son for everybody else?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that book, Jessi.
Would you like me to talk about it?
Please,
No, I don't.
want the Jessi sermon. I've got to hear.
No, you don't. Because, never mind. So sacrificing one for the greater good, right? Kind of falls in line. Here we go again. Thank you for welcome to my criminology TED Talk. That's the argument that people use about the death penalty. Who cares if a couple innocent people get put to death? If for the bigger picture, everybody, blah, blah, blah. So listen, I hear the argument of sacrifice 43 for the good of 1,000, hypothetically, because those 1,000 weren't standing on the edge of a ship getting ready to get pushed off. But if it's the prophets that are making the decisions and they say, well, it's the choice of the prophets, whatever they were saying, it's the will of the prophets, whatever. The Pope is lying. If the whatever her name is, my brain hurts. Whatever her name is, if she lied to save 1,000, it'd be like the Pope lying for the greater good. But isn't that one of your fucking core beliefs, that you're not supposed to lie? And then you lied again and fooled everybody and made everybody else think that it was this one guy, and then deleted all the records. So it was just a massive fucking what the fuck. You're lying about it, and then you put it off on somebody else, and that somebody else is like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for this prophet or whoever her name is. It's fucking strange to me. It's a strange concept that if there's a fucking plan, the plan happens. But the plan didn't happen because somebody lied. I don't know if I'm making any fucking sense, but it makes sense to me.
Okay, then.
Do I sound crazy, or is anybody catching on what I'm buying?
You're going to ask this group if you sound crazy.
That's a fair statement.
No, but it does make sense. It does make sense because you're saying it's like they did what they did to protect the legitimacy and the sanctity of the position of Kai and basically this religious order. But then what they're doing in order to do that, or the acts they're performing in order to do that, right, is contradictory to everything that religious order and the Kai position is supposed to stand for.
Correct.
So it's at the end of the...
I think it's two different issues here, right? It's Kai Opaka giving up the location of the rebels, right? And sacrificing her son to save others. And then it's the cover-up, right?
Right. So why not just say I fucking did it? I'm the Kai. I made the decision to save 1,000 people. Who is going to argue with you if you say I made the decision to save 43 or to kill 43 people, or she didn't kill them herself, to have 43 people killed to save 1,000? What was so wrong with just saying I did this? It was the will of the prophets.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And I think that she, they could have said, look, she was put under tremendous pressure from the Cardassians. This is a choice that nobody would have wanted to have made. The terror that they were going to bring down on the rest of Bajor was going to be far greater than just giving them up. And they could have made that argument and kept the legitimacy. But I also understand wanting to believe that you're the moral authority, and if you're giving up, if it seems like you are cooperating with the people who are committing genocide against your people, then you're going to lose that moral authority.
Sure. That's fair.
No matter whether it's legitimate or not, if it's seen that you're a collaborator, then all of your legitimacy could go out the window.
All I'm saying is God gave up his son to die for your sins, Christopher.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Chris, looks like you've got your hand up.
Yeah, so along these same lines, my thing with the rebel hideout and all that is I didn't feel bad really for those rebels and for the people, because at the end of the day, they decided to make their hideout in this heavily populated area. So at some point, they had to have known or realized we're putting all of these people around us in danger.
Are we
Now,
blaming
unless
the
it
victims
was,
now?
that's what I'm saying. They're not victims. They're not victims because they decided to put all these innocent people in danger by making that location the hub for their hideout or like their HQ.
Where
And it's
else did
like,
they hide? I'm
yeah,
kidding. I don't care.
I was going to say, yeah, it's like
I'm
you
tracking.
got a whole fucking planet. You got a whole fucking planet to choose from here. Maybe some remote wilderness location that's hard to get to. It's hard to find if you're not a local, like say a Cardassian.
That
I don't
guy's
know.
farm, perchance. Then they could have just destroyed the farm and nobody would have
Right.
argued.
Because he was willing to die on that farm anyway, right?
Sure
He's
was.
like, fuck it, I ain't leaving. Kill me. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. So that would have been a perfect spot. But there was another scene where Kira finally confronted, I don't want to mispronounce his name now. I'll just call him Old Boy. So she confronted Old Boy. And was I the only person that felt like this was like the Deep Space Nine scene or version of A Few Good Men? And at some point, Kira was just going to be like, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. I think that would have made that scene more compelling. But just overall, though, I think the philosophical question of like Jessi was saying earlier or talking about earlier, if you find out someone that you deeply love has done this incredibly egregious, immoral act, do you stick by their side? Do you tell them, oh hell no, like you're not who I thought you were, like I can't rock with you no more? Like what is your stance on what's everybody's stance on that? I guess I'm curious to know, like, if you find out the person you are head over heels in love with has done something completely and what can be seen as unforgivable, do you stand by their side? Do you kind of just X out needy and tell them to get lost? What do you do?
What are we talking? Are we talking 43 people? Or are we?
But did he do the unforgivable thing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from Kira's standpoint, like she thought at that point in that scene, I'm talking about that scene. At that scene, she thought he had did it. She was pretty much consigned to like, how could you do this?
Right.
And he didn't deny it either, right? Even though he wasn't guilty, he also didn't deny it because he was trying to protect that secret. So it's like at that point, what do you do? Because I think Nicole, you said it earlier.
She knew he was innocent at that point already.
But he's still lying to her.
No, when she first finds out that he had erased the log, she didn't find out yet about the transit files. She just found out that he was the one who used his retinal scan to access
and then
the
she
logs.
and then she was going to make the call, but kept digging after that.
Right. So the first time, not after.
Winn.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm saying the first time when she confronted him, and then she had to go back to Vedek Winn and give her findings. So when she actually still thought that he had done it, that scene, that's when the question was raised for me: is if you find out the person that the love of your life has done this unforgivable thing, what do you do? Do you stand by him or do you completely write him off? Well, that's what was interesting about that to me because the episode was trending that way and it was leading up to that. So everything after that was, well, what is Kira going to do about it? And at least from my perspective. And I just thought about putting myself in her position. What would I do? You know, because I'll often ask my wife like ridiculous hypothetical questions. Like today I asked her, I was like, what if the Fed just kicked down our door while we were watching TV and they were putting me in handcuffs and they said, Cristobal Noriega, you're under arrest. And I look at her and I just say, don't worry, I'll explain everything later. I was like, what would you do? And she was like, I don't know.
Just from my experience, she's going to stay with you for at least a while until you go to prison.
Until she knows I'm not coming home. And then she's like, all right, let's get this.
I'm definitely the one that's like, sorry for you. Like, I'm going to cut my losses because is this the love of your life or is this the dick of your life? That's the difference. Because like, I don't think that Kira and Kira and old boy are going to end up together. I honestly don't believe that. So like, this is the dick of the day. So like, what's the loss? Okay, all right, you got some feelings, cut them, move on to the next one. If we're talking about the love of your life, I don't know what that means because clearly the love of my life was not the love of my life. So it's hard for me to believe that somebody that does something egregious, this is where I go back and forth because he justified it by, I saved 1,000 by telling them where 43 were. It's not like he drove down there and killed them himself. But at that point, I'd have been like, sorry, homie, you're not getting Kai. Have a great life. And I'll see you when I see you. On to the next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just
Emily.
So, did anyone consider that Kaiopaka's son was in the group and it may have been his idea to sacrifice the group, that the group
Mm.
agreed to it?
No, I hadn't
Why
thought
did
about
they?
that.
So
I
can
mean, if
somebody
they're fighting for Bajoran freedom,
right?
you're already willing to sacrifice yourself for the freedom of your planet. So,
I don't know
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, there is the Vulcan, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. If you want to go all
yeah,
Spock.
I just can't
there's
get down
a
with that because that's how people justify the death penalty to me. And like, even if only one innocent person gets put to death every year, that's still one too fucking many innocent people getting put to death. Because it's all
yeah.
fun and games until you're that innocent person. So like, and
Hmm.
I have this conversation with my dad all the time. He's like, fuck it, sacrifice a couple so that all of the other quote unquote bad guys get what they deserve. And it's like, so now we're talking eye for an eye, but we're talking two eyes for no eyes when you're talking about killing innocent people. It's just, it's hard. It's a hard concept for me to grasp.
This isn't a criminal justice matter. This is war. This is people who are combatants against a regime who is committing genocide, right? So it is not the same as the death penalty argument.
So why not turn yourself in then if that's the case? If it was his idea, why didn't the 43 people just get up and surrender?
This may have been the only way of protecting some other assets that could have been exposed.
Given Cardassian torture, it's probably better to just be killed.
Well, and who's to say they didn't kill the 43 and then the 1,000 next? Like,
And that's the risk you have to take, right? They thought that this was the best way to save innocent lives was to sacrifice themselves.
do we know that it
Or
was
to
his
have
idea?
that, or to, no, we don't.
No.
But Emily's asked the hypothetical, but
Sure.
either the leadership of Bajor or the cell themselves were the ones who thought that this was the best solution, that it was going to be the way to make sure that fewer people were killed.
Then why is the Pope making that decision?
Because they're a semi-religious state. They have a civil government and very much like a I can't even think of the words right now.
The Kai is the spiritual leader of Bajor. And so it's kind of like in the Vatican States, the Pope is the head of state in the Vatican States.
And that's how I took it. I don't know the exact details
They
of
never really get fully into Bajoran government that much, but there's a prime minister and there's the Kai who basically share power, more or less.
I just have a real hard time with my Pope saying it's okay to go kill people.
God, would you have loved a couple of the Piuses?
Also because, I mean, this is a heavily religious society on Bajor. And I get what you're saying, Jessi. You don't want, because here in the States, we grow up, part of our culture is that the state and the church aren't supposed to mix.
Sure.
And there is not that separation
Sure.
on Bajor.
So if you took the religion out of it, right? So let's just say hypothetically, the president okayed them to take out the whole state of Illinois to save Iowa and Indiana and Kentucky and all of the Missouri, all of the surrounding states. Do we sacrifice the good to save the shit states?
They were a resistance cell, though.
So is Illinois.
Like, they weren't just, my understanding, if I'm remembering right, is they weren't just a random group. They were a specific resistance cell.
Got it. Yeah. No, and listen, it's not that I don't see your point. It's just the devil's advocate aspect of it is like, I hear you. There were 1,000 people that were saved, but she sacrificed her own son. So we're just going to call her space god.
Nicole.
All I could think about is Star Wars. Like, what would the Resistance do? What would Leia do? That's all I could think about.
Shitty story writing.
Listen,
Stupid weapons.
Don't be hating.
Idiotic plot.
I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Jesus. I've seen one Star Wars, so I don't know exactly what that means, but yes, I get the gist of it. And it's not that I don't hear the point. No, I'm sorry. It's just I just don't. It's not that I don't understand the concept that is being pitched. I get it. It's just it's an interesting concept to me.
I was more sort of thinking about Emily's question about were they in on it, because that's something that the rebels would do in Star Wars. Like that's what I was thinking.
And it would change. I mean, that would I don't know. Clearly, they signed up to die because if they didn't, they wouldn't be part of the resistance. So I don't know what the other 1,000 people were doing. Were they part of the resistance? Or
No,
were
they
they
were
just
citizens. They were civilians.
they were Illinois? Got it. Most of Illinois, outside of Chicago.
Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say it's like I don't know, Christopher. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the military, it's like what are the accepted casualties or whatever the phrase is. It's like those 43 signed up for the life. They knew what they were signing up for. At the end of the day, they were. It's okay. Like those are casualties that we can accept, but the 1,000 of innocent civilians who are living around them, those are the casualties that we can't accept. So you kind of have to make your choice one way or the other. But my real question is, this is obviously the very first Star Trek podcast I've ever done, but I'm also a huge Star Wars fan. Like I really, 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 really am into Star Trek, but I'm also really, really, really into Star Wars. Where is the beef at between these two fan bases? Like I just like it's visceral to a certain extent. And I'm just like, I fuck with them both. Like when was the line in the sand drawn and why was it drawn? Can somebody illuminate this for me, please?
They can't even get it right between their own Star Trek division. Like people will argue all day long about which one's the better one and then tell people that watch Deep Space Nine that they're fucking idiots.
Like, when did the beef start?
And it's always been there. I think it has always been there since the motion picture went into theaters and Star Wars came out in theater. So I think it's just always been one of those butting heads things. For me, I just don't like the movies. I don't care for premise. I just don't like them. And especially the more George Lucas fucks with them.
One is a vision for the future. The other is just a spaghetti Western. And it's just an entertaining movie. But it's not like it's...
Which one are we talking about being the spaghetti Western? Star Wars?
Star Wars.
You act like I've seen it. I've seen one. I've seen one, and it was like the middle of it. I didn't even see the first one.
Because I'm a huge fan of world building. So if there's something more immersive for me to dive into and to get into, like and then obviously I find it interesting, I'll ride with it and I'll get into it and stuff. And so like I said, both Star Trek and Star Wars have always been on my radar as they're both dope.
And I will say that as like world building, I think the universe that George Lucas built is great. As a filmmaker, I think he sucked at it. It's the writing of the scripts, and that's the part I think. It's like the universe he built, fine, great, build the universe, but get someone who can actually write dialogue to write the goddamn script.
Right. And I think you can be a fan of both. Is just is the understanding that they're two completely different things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just think, oh, space, they have to be related, and they're not.
Yeah. It's interesting because I always saw in the what do they call it? In like Star Wars Legacy, right? Whatever is not officially canon. The novels, the books, and the short stories, and a lot of the stuff that the fan made stuff tended to be better storytelling than the official canon stuff, especially pre-Disney buyout or whatever. And I always looked at Star Trek as the storytelling being more of substance, right? Having more of a direct parallel to real kind of philosophical and moral questions and topics and things like that. Like it was just deeper on a certain level. So I get where the difference is as far as one just kind of being a spaghetti Western, the other one actually being a vision for the future. It was just, I just never knew the origin of the beef. I know it was out there. I just never knew like where it started, why it started or whatever. So yeah, I'm sorry. That was just something I've always wanted to ask somebody. Because I think Prentice likes both too. Like Prentice and I have always been we like them both. I don't think I've ever heard Prentice say fuck Star Wars or Star Wars is trash or whatever. So I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and on our show, I think it was more or less a way for for Scott to annoy Kevin, because Scott disliked Star Wars and Kevin didn't. And if Scott could annoy Kevin, by God, Scott was going to annoy Kevin.
100% all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to know what spaghetti has to do with it. Why spaghetti?
That was just the terminology that was used for those Western shows and movies that were being produced and, from the John Wayne era to like the 70s and stuff, up to Clint Eastwood and was it Lee Rogers and all that stuff.
It was also basically it was low budget westerns, and they oftentimes had Italian directors.
Oh, see, that's
So,
the real reason.
so there you go.
I was like, why spaghetti? What are you talking about? Limp noodles? What are we talking about? Like, why spaghetti?
That's a
So
different genre entirely, Jessi.
back to OnlyFans. Okay, so like I feel like given the choice, right, between saving 43 people or saving 1,000 people, clearly everybody knows what decision they're gonna make, right? But like just use this podcast. Like we've all been deemed podcast terrorists, right? And there's 6 people on here and 5 are gonna live, but 1 has to die. Who do you choose?
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
feel
I
like it's
mean,
gonna be me. It's gonna be you guys are voting me off the island immediately. But like
I'm voting Mike or Prentice since they missed the show tonight.
easy. Let's get rid of Mike. No, I'm kidding. But it's like I don't even have kids, so like I can't imagine how hard that decision was for Kaiopaka, right? Like knowing that yes, my husband, my son signed up for this and he's part of the resistance and it's going to happen, but I can't imagine the grief that she went through knowing that her kid was out. Like that had to have been like the worst fucking decision she's ever made in her entire life. And then to lie about it is wild work. Like that's what I'm saying is like you better justify that shit. I'm gonna kill my own son and this is why. But no, they chose to handle it way different. I think that's my biggest. Should we continue to beat the dead horse?
Well, that's why I'm going to change the topic since you have turned the horse into paste at this point. So
Tasty paste.
So let's talk about that scene with Kira and Odo where they're chatting in the security office and Kira has that little admission that she might be in love with Bareil. And let's go to our resident shipper expert, FedEx herself.
Okay. Am I the only one that got the vibe that maybe Odo's in love with Kira or has
Yes,
feelings
and
for
I
her?
called it the
Absolutely in
first
love with her.
Okay.
fucking season.
Because he
Yes.
looked, when she said, I love him, he looked heartbroken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
The feelings he
Oh,
has are broken.
When he said, you humanoids, when it comes to emotional attachments, you can never see the obvious.
Yep.
He's talking about himself.
exactly.
He's talking about the fact that he's in love with Kira and she can't fucking see it. And I'm the oblivious one. All right. I can never see it. So
He's not wrong.
I'm with you, Kira, but
God damn.
Jessi.
I'm hands down choosing Odo.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. The things that I've seen that man do with his body, hands down, I go Odo.
I love
Fuck
your
it.
comment is hands down when you're making that.
Fuck a potential Kai. I'm going with Odo all day long. Do you know you would never be unsatisfied? Not a single fucking day in your life.
Oh my God.
Maybe for the like 8 hours that he has to go gooey in a bucket, but other than that,
You have to sleep anyway.
In like Flynn. Say I'm
Somebody
wrong.
speak.
Somebody
Just-
fucking
Okay.
say they wouldn't choose Odo.
We can't
Oh, no.
disagree with this though.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would definitely choose Odo. And the interesting thing
See?
to me was we've had a lot of discussions and seen a bunch of episodes where kind of learning more about Odo and like I don't want to say like the question has come up, does he have feelings? Does he have feelings like normal people would? Like what are his kind of thoughts? And like we haven't like he even said like I haven't felt like that about someone like the woman who was trying to like get with him or whatever. He was kind of like, oh, but it was so funny because like the way that he looked when she said that, all those questions to me came to a screeching halt. And I was like, oh, I'm not saying he didn't have feelings or feel or have like allegiances or care about people, but it was different than like, say, a humanoid would, right? But really, I felt like that just humanized him so much more than any other moment that I've seen with him throughout this whole show so far. And my heart broke for him. The way he had that look on his face, I was like, God damn it, Kira, you're breaking Odo's heart. Now I'm mad. Like, I just felt so bad for him. And like, yeah, it was almost like he was like, you kicked his puppy. I feel like that was a very unspoken but pinnacle moment for his character development to me.
Jessi.
Not to continue my last statement, but I think that he would be good for her because he's protective. He's the man that she needs. Like he would do exactly. They mesh well. They get along. They're friends. Like I called it in the first fucking season. They would look cute together. And I ship those two so hard because Odo is not soft as he is. He's a big fucking softie for the people that he cares about. And Kira is clearly one of those people. So yes, I saw it and I was like, see, I fucking told you he loved her. Shit.
Any other thoughts, opinions, discussion on the Collaborator?
We're almost done. Fucking shit, thank God.
I just hope we don't see Vedek Bareil without a shirt on for a long time.
A little bird chest.
You don't want that bird chest? Nicole, you ain't trying to rub on that bird chest?
Nuck if you buck with my bird chest.
God damn it.
Oh, boy.
Who was that was singing the Little Dick song earlier? Don't think
Me.
that went under the radar. Who was singing
Little
that?
Dick. You can get a song for everything. Ted has his own songs all day long.
Well, let's go ahead and grab some questions and predictions. God help us. Chris, how about your questions and predictions?
Are we going to see Vedek Bareil's oiled up bird chest again?
No,
And
thank you.
Is Kira going to be squeezing his man chesticles in a future episode?
Love
No,
his God.
I want to know if Vedek Winn becoming Kai Winn, what impact could that have? Like, what implications are there with her in that position now? Because Kira and Bareil were saying she's got a path ahead of her and we'll have to help guide her down it. But for some reason, I don't feel like she's the type that wants their help or their assistance. So I'm interested to see kind of what the result is of her becoming Kai and if that has a greater impact on the space station and the crew and everybody else.
Nicole, how about your questions and predictions?
So is she actually going to last as the Kai? Because I don't see it going well, and I don't see like good things happening with her in charge. So I'm just kind of curious, like how long it's going to last and if she'll actually be a Kai for a while. Also, will we have any clarification on the creepy visions that Bareil was having when he was playing with the magic glowy box? And will those be described a little bit further in the future, or was that just a standalone in this episode? Because they were kind of disturbing and weird, and yeah, they just kind of, anyway, I'm just curious about those. And then I guess, yeah, my other question too, which Chris kind of said, like, what are the implications of Wynn getting the Kai? Like, is she going to cause more fuckery and bitchcraft? Is there going to be drama? Is there going to be more violence? Is she going to Dr. Evil it and just stage a coup and take over and destroy everything? I'm just really concerned about that. And I guess I don't,
Really concerned.
yeah. And I don't think I have any predictions. I just, like I said, hope we don't see a bare-chested Bareil anytime soon.
Jessi, questions, predictions, hopes, fears?
Let's see. Odo and Kira in 2026. I don't know. I predict that we're almost fucking done with season 2, and I'm so fucking glad that it's about to be serialized. I don't think I have any. I just don't want to see fucking what's his name?
Bareil.
Barack Obama.
Yeah, no, I'd see him again. Um,
Again? Really?
yeah, we met him at Mig. What are you talking about? Anyway, I don't know. I got nothing. I don't want to see Bareil anymore. I don't like him. I don't like him, and I don't like him for Kira, and I think he's bird chest 101.
And Christopher, questions and predictions.
So, how is Kai Wynn's election going to affect Bajor's relationship with the Federation? Does Kira ever figure out that Odo is in love with her? And is
God, I hope
anything
so.
going to happen to Kubus?
Did he get to go back to Bajor? I guess that's a question.
So that wraps up our discussion of the Collaborator. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on all of the platforms that we have listed below and on your podcast app of choice. We would also appreciate it if you would leave us a review. We ask that
5-star.
Thank you, Jessi. We ask that they be 5-star reviews. We will even read them here on the show. And if they're not 5-star reviews and you just being a wankerous cunt, we'll read those here on the show too and make fun of you endlessly. Such as the person who decided to start an argument with us about the show Blood Oath, and then finally sealed it with their argument was, well, I was told this at a convention in 1998. Well, bravo for being told at a convention that something happened that wasn't in the fucking script, that wasn't in the fucking show, and was in none of the fucking reference material. So suck it, we were right and you're an idiot.
Suck it. Yes, what Blake said.
Long, suck it hard.
Oh, damn.
We do love our viewers and our listeners here on this show, so please give us a like, follow, and subscribe for more of our entertaining and interesting comment. For those of you that are part of our Patreon, we do have exclusive content there, as well as access to our Discord server, where recently there was a discussion about hot Italian sausage. I'll let you make of that what you will. It may have also involved spreading of seed. So again, check out our Discord and see exactly what we have going on there for insanity. I am Blake, and with me has been
Christopher,
Jessi,
Nicole,
Chris,
And Emily.
Thank you for listening to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast by searching for Especially the Lies on your podcast app or on YouTube. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Especially the Lies is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Paramount or any other owners of the Star Trek copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respected copyright holders. They are included here for purposes of review, and no infringement is intended.
Why have you brought me here? Show yourselves. What do you want?
The Cisco has returned to us.
He arrives with questions.
There are always questions.